Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today I wanted to talk to you about self-care. I feel like often in modern media when we talk about self-care, people tend to jump to taking a bath and painting your nails. But actually self-care consists of all the things you can do to keep yourself as healthy and happy as possible. We live in a time that is very productivity oriented, very focused on busyness and speed and results. And we sometimes can tend to forget about the basic things that we need to do in order to take care of ourselves. So today I wanted to talk about some of the things that I like to do for self-care that are really important to me and the ways that I try to keep myself healthy both physically as well as mentally. I have a cup of mint tea here today. If you are so inclined, I would love for you to join me in drinking a hot beverage, and let's get started straight away. The first, and for me personally, one of the most important things that I do for self-care is having and sticking to a sleep schedule. I personally notice huge effects straight away from lack of sleep. When I don't sleep enough, and by enough I mean at least 7 hours a night, I notice straight away that my focus gets worse, I can't concentrate, I get grumpy, I tend to feel less motivated. Since this is something I notice so heavily in myself, sleeping on a schedule so that I get 8 hours of sleep every night is something that is really important to me. I go to sleep around 11 at night and I wake up around 7 in the morning. And this is a schedule that I am very comfortable with. It works in my life with the things that I do and with my biological clock as well. And these are the times that I feel best, both going to sleep and waking up. And I do tend to stick to this schedule on the weekends as well. I feel like consistency is really important in also training your body to become tired, fall asleep, and then wake up at certain times. The second thing I do for self-care is in the way that I nourish my body. I try to stick to a varied and fairly healthy, balanced diet. Some of the biggest, most impactful ways I do this are, first of all, cooking at home most of the time. I prepare all of my own meals. That way I know exactly what goes in. I know that I'm getting the proper nutrients. The second way I personally like to make sure that my diet is healthy and varied is to have a piece of fruit or veg with every meal. Typically what this looks like for me is I have some fruit with breakfast. I will usually either have oatmeal or yogurt, and I will just add some berries or whatever fruit is seasonal at the time. Then with lunch I will have some vegetables, like some peppers on a sandwich, or sometimes I'll make a tomato salad or something to go with my lunch, or I'll make a wrap with different types of vegetables or a salad. Then I will usually have another piece of fruit as a snack in the afternoon, and then of course my dinners usually contain fairly large quantities of vegetables as well. I really enjoy fruit and vegetables, especially vegetables, so having them a lot also helps me enjoy different flavors of food all throughout the day. Now, I personally do eat a mostly plant-based diet, so I do have to mind my protein a little bit, and to do that I try to sneak in protein all throughout the day as well. So some ways I personally do that is to eat plenty of legumes. I like to eat nuts every day as well, or fairly regularly, usually in my breakfast too. And a great way to sneak in some extra protein as well on a plant-based or vegan diet is to eat whole grain products. So whenever you have bread or wraps or even pasta, rice, go for the whole grain. That always contains a lot more protein as well than the non-whole grain versions. And of course, another very important thing is to drink enough water, or in my case, tea. I feel like I should mention, I often forget to mention this, but most of the time when I'm drinking tea, it's not actual real tea. I drink lots of herbal blends or fruit blends, infusions rather than proper tea, like caffeinated tea. But also whenever I go out, I make sure to always have a bottle of water with me so that I don't go thirsty while I'm out and about. And when I am at home, I always have a pot of tea ready somewhere around the house so that I can always have a drink whenever I feel like I'm getting a little bit thirsty throughout the day. I should touch upon the third pillar of physical health, which is exercise. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise are the three ways that you can most easily influence in your own life and that do impact your health a lot. So what I do for exercise, I am not someone who enjoys exercising a lot. I'm a couch potato. I prefer to stay at home and be a little bit inactive, but I do try to push myself to stay active a little bit more in ways that I do enjoy it. The way I've kind of compromised with myself is I do some more intense exercise 3 times a week, which will usually be a trip to the gym, or I will go rollerblading outside, or I will take a ballet class. And then on days when I'm not doing that, I like to engage in some more gentle exercise. So I like to go on walks, like these little half-hour walks. And something that really helps me personally with that is my smartwatch. It counts my steps, obviously, but it also has all these metrics that show me how much I've moved. If I go for a 30-minute walk, that is usually plenty to fill up my bars. But another thing that this does is it gives me reminders to get up and stretch after I have been sitting too long. I feel like around after an hour, it just gives me a little alert, tells me I've been sitting for a long time, and then it suggests a couple of exercises, quick little stretches or exercises that I can do. So for me personally, getting something that tracks my fitness has just been a really nice prompt to be more active. It has really motivated me. So that might be something to consider doing if it is something that you struggle with as well. I feel like exercise is a nice segue so that I can tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, because this video is very kindly sponsored by Wild Deodorants. Wild is a natural, cruelty-free and vegan deodorant brand that make refillable deodorants. They basically make these cases, aluminum cases, that you can refill with different deodorants to your taste. This right here is one of their leopard cases, which recently launched in collaboration with Born Free, which is a charity focused on wild animals. There are different colors cases available, and you can even get your name engraved onto them. So you can personalize it. Mine says Loepsie right here on the cap. The case is really easy to refill. You just twist your case all the way to the left, then you pinch the buttons on the side and pull the lower part out to open the case. You then insert your refill, take the cap off. You then pick a refill, any scent that you like. You take the cap off, insert it, and close the case. And then you can twist the deodorant up and it's ready to use. And once you've used up your refill, the bamboo packaging of that is compostable, and you can pop in a new one and keep using your case infinitely. I absolutely adore the concept of this, having a good, sturdy, practical case, but also having it be refillable with sustainable inserts that you can switch out at will, and you can choose different scents. I think that is such a wonderful idea. And also just these scents, guys. They came out with a really fun Pina Colada scent for summer, which smells exactly like Pina Colada. It's just this quintessential coconut and pineapple scent. Another one of my favorites is the cotton and sea salt, I think it's called. All of them that I have smelled have been amazing, and the texture of this deodorant is really smooth and really soft, and it doesn't clog the pores, which I love. And I love that it works. It's not an antiperspirant, but it does stop me from smelling. I can't smell myself all day, and at the end of the day even I still smell the scent of the deodorant. Now if you want to try this out for yourself, Wild are kindly offering my viewers a 20% discount if you use code Loepsie on their website. I'll have a link in the description box. Takes you straight there. So Loepsie, 20% off. Highly recommend checking this out. I am absolutely in love with this stuff. I've used it every day since it arrived. A massive thank you to Wild for sponsoring this video. So we've covered the 3 things that I feel like are most important for me to maintain my physical health as well as I can. Now, the next couple of points have more to do with mental health. There are for sure things that I can do to set myself up for success in that area of life as well. So one of the things that I feel like are most important is to accept my limitations. This is something that I struggle with, but I try to be very mindful of it. Sometimes I just have to accept that I can't do everything that I would like to do or that I want to do or that I feel like I have to do. Sometimes I am just tired, or I have an off day, or I just can't for the life of me do what I'm supposed to do. And I have learned over time that when that happens, pushing myself to do it anyway isn't always the best way to go. Sometimes I just need to give myself some grace, allow myself a little bit of time off, allow myself that chance to refresh and reboot and start fresh the next day. There's a fine line between challenging yourself and, you know, moving your boundaries and becoming more comfortable and used to discomforts, and then knowing when to say it's enough and just taking a step back and allowing yourself that little bit of rest that you need. It can be difficult to find that line, but once you do, I think it's good to know where your limitations lie and to work with them. And learning to accept that is giving me personally a lot of peace. Another thing I like to do is to schedule for work-life balance. For someone who works from home always, I think most of us have worked from home over the past while, but it's kind of the default for me. I always work from home, and I feel like especially when you work from home and when you work for yourself as well, it's quite important to maintain a healthy work-life balance. And the way that I have found this to be the easiest is to schedule it in. I am quite big on my schedules. I feel comfortable when I know what's coming. So what I like to do is to time block. Usually I will sit down at the beginning of a week and block out the rest of the week so that I know what's coming up and I can be sure that I plan in enough time for work and enough time for relaxation as well. I personally try to stick to a normal 9 to 5 work week. Even though I have more flexibility, I do prefer to stick to that more traditional, work hours, just so that I can flow with society a little bit easier. I feel like that is helpful for me personally. Along the same lines, I try to prioritize making time for hobbies, things that I enjoy doing myself, and also hanging out with loved ones, socializing. I feel like those things are really important for me to recharge, to feel like a human and not just someone who works all the time. And I feel like we can't forget the importance of a good and healthy support system around us as well, especially when we've spent so much time in isolation. Now that it's possible again to meet with people, I feel like it's really good to do and to just get out into the world a little bit more again and meet up with people you like. So the last thing I wanted to talk about that I personally do for self-care has to do with my smartphone. My cell phone, limiting cell phone use. This thing, I feel like it's a blessing and a curse. I feel like most people probably feel that way about their smartphones. These are such useful tools. They can do so much for us. I find myself getting overwhelmed quite easily just by information overload. And there's nothing that brings information overload quite as much as a smartphone with internet access. So I definitely tend to misuse my phone, get lost in it and the social media and just all of the information that is of very little value to me. This is an ongoing battle that I have been fighting, and I am still working on it, on using my phone in a more healthy way and using it as a helpful tool. All the useful, actually practical things that it can do, and less as a distraction. So the most recent thing I have done, and something that has worked fantastically, is I have actually downloaded an app blocker. It's an app that prevents me from opening certain apps at certain hours of the day. So I have blocked all of my social media apps, as well as certain websites that I tend to spend a lot of time on, news websites, things like that. It blocks those for me during hours when I feel like I shouldn't be on them. So that is right before I start work, all throughout work hours, and then about an hour before I go to bed. It just kicks me out. If I'm on Instagram, it'll just kick me out. Speaking of Instagram is one of the apps that I, even at the times when I am allowed to use those apps, I can only go on them for a maximum of 10 minutes. I used to spend hours a day on Instagram, and there is absolutely no reason to spend that much time on Instagram. So I have set myself a time limit of 10 minutes. And I know this may sound so silly, but it helps me so much. I really struggled with that self-discipline to put the phone aside, get off the apps. This works fantastically for me. It just physically kicks me off the app. It shows me this window that says, go do something productive. And this has really helped me view my phone in a very different way and use it very differently. If I'm completely honest, I'm still surprised by the amount of time that I spend on my phone. For the most part, I use it for useful things now. Navigation, financial stuff, office-y things. And I have full access to all of my communication apps as well, so I can still get in touch with people. But yeah, just the apps that I feel like are unhealthy for me, I have blocked all of those, and it has helped so much. So that's it. Those are the biggest and most important things that I am doing for self-care to try and help keep myself as healthy as possible, both physically and mentally. So I would love to know what you do specifically to aid in your self-care, to take care of yourself in different ways. Please do let me know in the comments. I think that will be very valuable information to share with each other. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for lots more lifestyle, beauty, fashion, and sewing videos. I want to give another massive thank you to Wild for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check them out in the description box below. Use code Loepsie for 20% off your purchase. There is another video here that I think you might also enjoy. You can go watch next. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!